I'm Brigham Larson with Brigham Larson Pianos. This Hailun piano, this was actually the very first piano of Hailun, this model, that I fell in love with all those years ago, back in 2010, when I first kind of fell head over heels in love with the Hailun brand, when I knew, okay, this is the real deal. I was very skeptical, simply because Hailun is manufactured in China, and every piano that I had encountered up until that point, I started as a technician in '95, so I'd had quite a bit of experience between '95 and 2010 of all pianos, including pianos manufactured in China. And basically all of them manufactured in China up until that point were decent, mediocre at best, and often not even that. But based on the press that Hailun was getting, and based on what I was reading, kind of the buzz in the industry, and also what I saw when I went in person and saw this at a show, a convention, I was super impressed. I bought one instrument, and it was this instrument. It was the Hu1P, which is kind of their 48-inch flagship. It's the best of what they do. I took it home. Was optimistic, but still like a little bit unsure. Maybe the piano that I saw in person was souped up in some way, but you know, I was fairly confident. It was getting such good press at that point that I was fairly confident. Long story short, I took it home in my living room, uncrated it, took everything completely apart, the keys out, the action, took it all apart so that I could really examine things well, because I really, really wanted to be sure. And by the time I had it all put back together and tuned and everything, I remember there was kind of a dividing wall that would have been like right here, and I kind of peeked my head around the wall to my wife. She was in the kitchen cooking dinner, and I told her, "Carmel, I can't tell people how good I think these Hailun pianos are because they're going to think that I'm exaggerating." Well, I have gotten over that fear of coming across as maybe biased or agenda-laden. I don't fear that anymore because I stand proud. It's been 8 years, and there's no question in my mind. These pianos are awesome. I give them with as much enthusiasm as I can, 2 thumbs up. Now, are there better pianos out there? That's not the case that I'm making. There are certainly better pianos out there, but the case that I'm making is from a value standpoint. These pianos are so reasonably priced, and they stand up there with these pianos that are double or even triple the price of this one. So I would say that these pianos are they're outstanding when you take price into account, from really all categories. The touch it's very smooth, very easy to manipulate, get the sound that you want. From the tone standpoint, it sounds big and rich, big booming sound, especially in the bass. And there it's got a nice, pleasing, rich tone. And then up here, just a nice ringing tone up there at the top. So touch, tone, from a technician standpoint, when I work on it, a lot of technicians talk a lot about Yamaha. I'm actually one of them. I still love working on Yamahas. A lot of technicians really promote Yamaha because they're so nice to work on. They're so consistent and easy. They do what you want them to do. And this piano shares that in common totally with Yamaha. That from a technician standpoint, they're just really well built, really beefy. They do what you wanted them to do. Easy to manipulate as a technician. So touch, tone, technician recommendation, then endurance. They endure very well. They have a 15-year warranty, but having now, here we are, nearly a decade later, from my initial introduction to them in 2008, nearly a decade later, and I've sold hundreds of these pianos, and I've personally been the technician that has gone out on many of them and kept them tuned and serviced. And from an endurance standpoint, they're awesome. So that holds up. The price is not that far from what it was back in 2010. Trying to think of other categories. The finish is beautiful. It's just a complete package. I've been to the factory twice now, once this year and once in 2013. So I know and now can not only vouch for the final product, but I can vouch for the process from what I've seen visiting the factory, that this company is the real deal. And maybe I'll say one last thing before I get more into this particular instrument, and that is if there's skepticism of how historically Chinese manufacturers have been mediocre at best at piano manufacturing, how could there suddenly be one that has changed that? And I've got lots of answers to that, but quickly, just kind of in interest of time, essentially what they've done is all of the design work is Western. All of Mr. Chen, this is his first name. Hailun is his first name. Chen is his last name. He hired four designers, three guys that are Europeans, and one American guy that did all the design work, and they were the best of the industry. He spared no expense on design. They did all of that. So essentially, determining the materials to make these pianos out of, determining the scaling, determining where everything goes, how everything is put together. Those are these guys, these top-notch designers. And then, so that's really the best intellectual work that the West has to offer, combining it, marrying it with what the best that the East has to offer, which is manufacturing efficiency. So again, having been to the factory twice now, I can very much vouch for, as far as efficiency, how sharp these guys are. It's just everything is just efficient, which what that means is a very, very low price. When you can get efficiency up, you can get cost down, and so that is the Eastern mastery. And it's every bit a valid thing to master as much as these four designers, these four Westerners have mastered their craft. So that's the kind of secret sauce. In fact, in my shop there, we've got a piano rebuilding shop here right behind this wall. We all went to the factory together. There were 12 of us that went, and we sat in the boardroom. All of us were so blown away by the efficiency that we sat in the boardroom at the Hailun factory, and we were like, okay, what can we do? How can we implement some of these efficiency things that we've seen here today? And we had a 2-hour discussion about it because they're that good. Okay, anyway, this particular piano, we have Abel hammers, which is a German hammer that was put on there by, again, these European guys. We've got what's it called? Aluminum key bed down there. If you can kind of see the key bed down there. That is what I'm trying to get my light down there. Okay, there's my phone light. You can see the aluminum key bed down there. So that's essentially the foundation of everything in the keys. And of course, traditionally, it's been made of wood in other pianos, which wood can warp and change shapes over time. But of course, aluminum will never do that. It is, once you grind it to that position, it's never going to move. And so the foundation of the keyboard and the action is super, super solid, made of aluminum. The plate, this is the plate right here, this kind of copper colored thing right here is called the plate. That's what holds the tension. And you want this plate to be just super, super solid. You have about 18 tons of tension when you divide all of these strings out. So that's just a massive, massive amount of tension. And so the plate is what holds all of that tension. 18 tons, that's like my car weighs 1.5 tons, and you've got 18 tons of tension between all those strings. So you've got cast iron. And the more solid that plate, the more, well, solid will be all of those strings in their position. This plate, not only is it super thick and beefy, but it also goes all the way around the full perimeter, which is a big deal. That means tuning stability, and that means, for the movers, that means a miserable time moving, because they know that Hailuns weigh a lot more than other pianos. A big part of that is that huge plate. It just means part of that longevity that I was talking about a few minutes ago, endurance. Anyway, it's just an awesome an awesome piano. I'm skipping over other things again in the interest of time. A-graphs in the bass, nice little. But that's really what's important. It's a big, powerful sound, especially for 48 inches. That's a good-sized piano, but a sound like that you might expect more from a 50, 52 inch, even a giant one that's, you know, the old style that are like 56 and 58 inches. It just has this masculine sound. Really fun to play this piano. It's like I was saying, super easy to manipulate, get it to do what you want, get those nuances that I want, I mean, you can play very delicately and very soft, but if you want that power, this piano can absolutely keep up. So strongly, highly recommend. Like I said, 2 thumbs up. Come check it out. See what you think. The address here is 1497 South State Street in Orem. Or you can call the store, ask about other info. We try and keep things pretty updated online. It's hard to do. Things move relatively quickly, but we do our best. That's at BrighamLarsonPianos.com. Thanks for watching.